Hello, and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered with us tonight for the most chaotic wrestling review show in the multiverse. This is All For
NAWT not.
Not.
Yes, another Wednesday. We are back at it. Myself, ALW, and your boy, Slammin' Sammy Joe. We have a lot to
Yeah,
talk about. I don't think really anything happened over the weekend in WWE. So, no, I'm just kidding. We had a Survivor Series that was very action packed. I
hmm
want to talk about the
I
best.
I will say that the wrestling was okay.
The wrestling. I mean, I thought the wrestling was good for the most part. I mean, I thought both War Game matches were good. I thought Miz and Gunther was pretty good.
I thought the
Santos and
women's
Dragon Lee
War
was,
Games match was really good.
yeah,
Gunther and Miz was good. The rest
yeah,
of it was all right.
yeah, yeah. I can
But
agree with that. I
being
can
all
agree with
right's
that.
not bad, you know. By definition, it's not bad. It's all right.
Right. 100%. 100%. So, as we're talking about, we were talking about Survivor Series this last Saturday, which was War Games, women's War Games, as well as men's War Games. And the show kicked off with the women's War Games match. I just called them TWWE. I don't know what to call them. Bianca, Charlotte. Um, sorry, I apologize.
Match of the night,
Oh, match of the
and
night.
EO off the top too. Like always money.
With the garbage can on her head or over
hmm
her head. It was quite the what you call it, quite the spectacle to see her jump off the top of the garbage can on her head. Uh, yeah, I mean we talked about
She
this
did
and
it
in our
in
prediction,
NXT too.
huh?
She did it in NXT too.
Yeah, yeah, she did. Um, we talked about in our predictions last week about how we thought Shotzi was probably there to take the pin. Obviously, that did not happen. Um, and I thought
Poor
Shotzi
baby.
looked pretty good in this match. Honestly, I mean, I guess it's probably just by default or proxy by association, whatever you want to call it, that she looks good because she's part of the winning team with Becky, Bianca, and Charlotte, who are definitely three of the top women in WWE in the world.
You got
Um,
you got 7 of the top 10 women in that match. Like
yeah, yeah. But I thought that she held her own and looked good. She had some spots where Shotzi looked really good. I didn't think that she looked like the weak link of any team. So I was happy to see them get the win. Again, another loss for damage control. I mean, I know they get wins here and there, but like big, like big things. I mean, they damage control regularly gets shit on. It feels like so.
uh,
Um,
Rhea, Shayna, and number 10. I want to give it to Alexa Bliss, but we also haven't seen her in forever, so it's hard to give her.
yeah,
But like, even with her gone, like, still a top 10 woman. Like,
yeah. No, I mean, I thought that this was a really good match. Match of the night. Yeah, I mean that's probably safe to say. I mean, I really enjoyed the men's match. It sounds like I enjoyed the men's match more than you. We'll get to that when we get to it at the end. But so I thought this was really solid. I mean, I liked seeing the women open. I liked the way they bookended the show with the two War Games matches. I thought that was good. Um,
I enjoyed the Randy parts.
yeah, yeah, and then we'll talk about that, um, as well as the other elephant in the room, and we'll get to then also the biggest comeback in WWE as far as I'm concerned. We can't forget about our Truth coming back. I mean, amidst all the chaos, our Truth is now back. So, uh,
Mm, I
yeah,
don't know. One of the biggest comebacks was John Cena and the Usos. They look just like their mug shots. Different kind
uh,
of comeback though.
a different kind of comeback. Let's see. So no, I really enjoyed this match. Like we said, Becky, Bianca, Charlotte, and Shotzi got the win in a very solid opening match. I like war games. I don't. As long as you're only doing it once a year at Survivor Series, I think it's fine. I get a little nervous that stuff gets done too much and that it loses some of its specialness, but once a year is okay. I do miss I wish we would have one War Games and one traditional Survivor Series elimination style match. I miss the old fashioned 5 on
I thought
5.
that they were going to do that.
You eliminate a guy and it's now 5-4 or whatever it works out. Just a traditional. I want to see that come back. So I don't know if we ever will, but yeah. Um, let's see. Then we had Gunther versus Miz, which was extremely solid. Miz had a
Hmm.
I don't want to say better performance than I expected because I like the Miz and I'm a huge Miz fan and he's a Grand Slam champion. He's held every belt in WWE. He's definitely a main eventer. At the same time, like there still is for me a little bit of a chasm between the really, really top great guys and Miz. Even though some of his stats stand up, it feels like he's a little below those guys. And I feel like Gunther should beat Miz. So even though Miz, I thought did a good job for himself and had a really good showing, Gunther won.
They might run that match back.
Yeah. Yep. Last night, or we'll talk about it, but on Monday night, Miz challenged Gunther for another. He wants another match. So, which I'm here for. I thought the first one came off well. Uh, we had Dragon Lee. We had Santos defeat Dragon Lee, in which was, a good match, but probably the downest point of the show just because it's the match that I don't know, just was kind of in the middle that, you
I'm
know,
sad we didn't get Carlito.
yeah. Yeah, well, there's that. Absolutely. And it's a disservice to these two guys because both guys are good wrestlers or whatever. It feels like the point in the show where you can take a break, right? If you got to do
Mhm.
something, this is the point, and that's unfortunate. But I thought the match was solid. Like I said, Santos won. I enjoyed it. Then we had
Um,
Rhea
yeah,
versus
you don't want to be
Rhea
the piss
retained her
taker there.
title against Zoe. Um, I mean, I
Rhea's
like this.
great.
Say it again.
Rhea's just great.
Yeah, no, I agree. Rhea is very good at what she does, and she's extremely over. The crowd loves her. I thought the crowd was there for this show. I thought the crowd
Hmm.
did a good job. I mean, they seemed to enjoy it. I thought they helped feed into it. I thought that Zoe had a good showing against Rhea. I like Zoe Stark. I think the future's bright for her. And yeah, I didn't have a problem with this match. Rhea should win, and she did. And I thought it was good. And then we had the men's war game match, which had all of the actual like spectacle and fireworks and all the excitement of the night, right? So we had um, Judgment Day versus Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and we weren't sure whether it was going to be Randy Orton or not. I mean, we knew that that's who it was supposed to be, but whether he was going to come or not, we didn't know. And he did not disappoint. He waited until the very last minute. He waited until both cages were, emptied and 9 men were in the ring, and he came out at the
He
last
even
minute.
waited for Rhea to come down with the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right. Rhea came down first. That's right, with the money in the briefcase. She was going to help Damian cash in on Seth, and then Randy's music hit. The crowd went wild, and Randy came down. He looks good. He looks like he's in good
Oh
fucking
yeah,
shape. Dude looks ripped for sure. Like, oh wow, all right.
one of
It
my
seems
all-time favorites.
I cannot. When they keep saying it's been a year and a half, and I know it's been a while, but it didn't feel like it had been that long. So I was kind of shocked that it had been that long. But yeah, so Randy comes down, participates in the match. They have the match. Team Cody wins. And then the fun begins because whose music hit? Cult
Um,
of Personality. Mr. CM Punk has
Living
decided
Color.
to. Oh, yes, from Living. Yeah, well, is that? Yeah, it's by Living Color. But the song I think is called Cult of Personality, right? By Living
Yeah.
Color. That's a group. Yep. So that hits, and out comes CM Punk in his jeans and his T-shirt. And I guess we have a CM Punk sighting in WWE. Apparently, he has signed some sort of a contract. I don't know if it's short, long term. I have no idea what it looks like. I haven't seen any
CM
details or
Punk
heard
to
anything.
WWE confirmed.
Yep, CM Punk to WWE confirmed. The crowd goes wild as CM Punk apparently does to crowds, I guess. And yeah,
I'm
so
assuming Punk's going to be on better behavior, but who the fuck knows?
right, yeah, um, yeah. I mean, I don't. For me personally, I'm exhausted kind of talking about CM Punk, but my personal response is that I think this is dumb for WWE and Endeavor, but
Uh,
it is what
the
it
big
is.
thing is they're not going to let him book the entire show around himself.
You know,
And two, they showed on Monday, all right, Punk, we'll give you the last 4 minutes. And they put on a pretty good show before Punk ever came out.
right? Yeah.
So
I mean,
WWE fully showed they don't need Punk. Like,
yeah. And apparently he's already had a run in right with Seth Rollins. I mean, I don't know all the details, but apparently there was already some sort of a little run in with the two of them. So I don't know. Like I said, for me, Randy
I
Orton's
also hear
back.
Drew was upset about something. Maybe something happened with the match that I don't
Yep.
know, but that was something that people were talking about.
Randy Orton's back. CM Punk's back. But the return of the night was our truth. For me, when I saw our truth, I was extremely ecstatic to see him back.
Oh yeah.
So,
The only thing
I
is I don't know what you do with Punk.
this was a very. I thought this was a solid pay per view. I liked this. I thought it was. When I was done watching it, it felt like one of the. I don't know. I mean, it's not the best WWE pay per view of the year by any stretch, but I thought it was kind of a little higher on the list than some of them are. It felt like it was probably, like I would give it like a B, a B plus. I thought it was a solid show. Um,
Hmm.
I didn't really have any complaints other than I felt like Santos and Dragon Lee kind of got the short end of the stick just by default. But that was no comment on their match. So and then, so that leads us into Raw from 2 nights ago, which is basically the fallout or the continuation of Survivor Series leading into uh, Royal Rumble and then WrestleMania season. Uh, it starts off with your boy in the ring, looking pretty good,
Uh,
all ripped in the ring.
yeah.
And then he got interrupted by the Judgment Day, and that ended up in them booking Randy versus Dominic Mysterio for later in the night. What'd you think of this Randy Orton promo? What do you think of this segment? You like him picking up where he left, not where he left off, but picking up with Judgment Day? You think that's a natural?
Uh, Daddy's home. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? I dug it.
Yeah, yeah.
Him and Rhea played off really well with each other.
He did
Like Rhea's
that.
been
Daddy's home.
dominating on the mic against everybody who she's in the ring with. And
Yep.
finally, with Randy back, somebody was able to stand toe to toe with Rhea on the mic.
Yeah. And the Daddy's home comment, I thought hit the mark. Everyone seemed to like that. So Um, yeah, no, I mean, they seem to have good chemistry together. I mean, Judgment Day is their biggest story on Raw at the moment, right? And maybe in WWE. So, I mean, obviously it's arguable with the bloodline, but so it makes sense to have Randy Orton, who's one of your biggest stars, come back, and he's already has he's naturally involved with it. So, you might as well have him um, do what he does and be involved in that storyline. That seems to make sense. So um, that led into tag team turmoil, which started with DIY defeating Alpha Academy in a solid match. And then DIY defeated Indus Sheer. And then the Creeds beat DIY, which kind of surprised me. I was surprised up till here. It didn't. I figured that DIY was probably going to beat Alpha Academy. I knew they were going to be in this year. I really thought they were going to beat the Creeds, but the Creeds got the win here. Ultimately, the Creeds beat the New Day, which really surprised me. And then beating Imperium to basically win tag team turmoil. What'd you think about this?
Big push for the Creeds.
Yeah, huge push for the Creeds. Those are some big wins. I mean, the fact that they got the win over New Day and DIY. I mean, I know DIY is just coming back, but they've got a ton of history, right? I mean, and so that's a big win for the Creeds. And New Day's a huge win. Imperium feels like it almost feels like they should have been swapped. It feels like New Day should have been the final, and Imperium should have come before them, just because New Day feels like the better tag team, like the bigger win for the Creeds to actually win the whole thing. But yeah, I mean,
No, I
however they want to do that.
disagree.
But yeah, I mean,
Because if the New
okay,
Day were going up last and they were facing the Creed brothers, who had already been in 2 matches previously, then I would have been mad that the New Day having lost when they're fresh against.
yeah, I can see that. I guess I can see that. Then we had what might have been my favorite part of Monday Night Raw this week, which was Cody with the promo in the ring, which ultimately led to him getting attacked by Shinsuke Nakamura. Here's my question for you. Shinsuke has been doing these kind of um, uh, vague promos about I'm coming for blah blah blah, but without saying any names. Do you think it was always Cody, or you think this is a new decision? What do you? I mean, how do you feel
No
about this,
idea.
and what do you think about?
But
No idea.
I dig the mist, and I don't know when this match is actually going to happen.
Yeah.
Because
Are you
like if you're
excited for it
doing
though?
it at the Royal Rumble, like is Cody not going to be in the Royal Rumble? Like is that the choice that they're making?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's. I mean, he was obviously there to announce him being himself being in the Royal Rumble, right? So
Yeah.
that was his announcement, and then obviously Shinsuke came. But yeah, I mean, if they do it at the Rumble, he's probably not going to be in the Rumble and have a match. Um, so I'm trying to
You
think.
would think.
They don't really have anywhere to do it on a pay per view between now and the Rumble. So with no day one happening this year, so I suppose they could do it on a Monday Night Raw. I mean, it doesn't have to be at a pay per view, but I mean, I think Cody and Shinsuke deserve a pay per view spot and
Hmm.
deserve time like that, but that doesn't mean that that has to be. And they could have a couple matches, right? So you could do something before the Rumble where they have some sort of a match on Raw, and then something, either one gets the win or something happens and they stretch it out. They have the Rumble, they're both in the Rumble, they face off again at the Rumble face to face during the Rumble, and then have another match, at the next pay per view after that, whatever that is, and have a little bit of a feud where they have a couple matches. I could see potentially that happening, but I'm here for Cody and Shinsuke. I like Shinsuke, and I think this is a decent story for Cody. I'm not a huge Cody fan, but I like this kind of turn here, and I like
I'm
Shinsuke
aware.
a lot. So, huh?
I'm aware you're not a big Cody fan.
Let's see. Then we had Bronson Reed and Ivar battle to a double countout. Um, I didn't expect a whole lot from this match, even though I do like Reed and Ivar. I wasn't sure what to expect just because it could be really good or bad. So I wasn't sure what, but I thought it came off good. These two guys are both big, huge beasts, and I like watching them beat each other up.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Fine mid card match there.
Yeah, for sure. Nia
This
Jax
feels
defeated.
like something I
Okay,
would have put together if I was doing a universe mode or general manager mode. Putting those two
right.
together, yeah.
Um,
Solid mid card match.
Nia defeated Zoe next in a match that definitely made Nia look stronger than Zoe. Um, Nia beat her fairly. handily. I mean, Zoe had some offense, and it wasn't like it was a squash, but when Nia decided to turn it up, she kind of squashed Zoe. So, I mean, I'm a huge Nia Jax fan, so I'm fine with it. But they've been kind of pushing Zoe Stark, so I'm not totally sure what that was about. But I don't know. So, are we going to get Nia versus Rhea? Is that ultimately where you think we're going?
I'm hoping for Shayna.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead and give us another 20-second squash between Naya and Shayna, and sure.
Yeah.
On that, like, that was Naya's last match in WWE before coming back now, was a 20-second squash to Shayna. Ref
Is
stoppage.
that
Right.
is that right?
Ref
That
was
was
like,
po-
no, no, no.
that was after Al My Hole, because wasn't My Hole right before she left?
That was like half a year before she
Okay.
left.
Okay. Yeah, my days all blur together, so I have a hard time remembering when stuff happened. But um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess we'll end up seeing what happens with that. Then we got a Seth Rollins promo in the ring where he was talking shit about Punk, and it was interrupted by your boy Drew, your enter the square circle nemesis, Drew McIntyre, uh, who I'm calling it. Dude's a heel. I mean, he's made the turn. I mean, I'm calling it. He's a heel. I mean, he was a baby face for a little bit, then he kind of rode the fence. I think he's basically a heel now. I mean, even though
I,
Seth
I
is,
think I think they're trying to bleed the lines.
yeah, no, they definitely are. But I'm saying I think he's a heel. I'm calling it. Um,
Like he
so
beats people up, but he also gives the fans high fives.
yeah, I guess he's a little. I mean, they definitely like to do that, right? He's kind of like your scumbag with MJF a little bit, right? Like they're these guys. It's not all just black and white. You're not either just a baby face or a heel. You can be kind of both, right? At times. So,
And
and I
I
guess
think that
that's where
works for
Drew is.
Drew.
But I think he's a heel. I'm calling it now. He's going to end up being a heel ultimately. I think that's where this goes. Um, he just hasn't accepted it fully yet. Um, but
I
he
mean,
attacked.
can't you be a heel to the other wrestlers, but be a baby face to the fans?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I mean,
Like
yeah. I
with
mean,
with
like
the
like you.
fans acts a baby face, but when in the ring acts a heel. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely. I mean, I can see that. I mean, that can work. Uh, Drew hit Rollins with a Glasgow kiss, and then he ended up getting run off by Jay Uso, who came down to help Seth Rollins, I guess, to further show that he is changed and no longer, that he actually whatever. And yeah, what do you think of this overall? You like this promo? You
uh,
like this spot?
yeah. Like I thought it was really solid, but I was even more hyped for what happened following it backstage.
Which was what are we talking about? Go ahead and tell us what we're talking about.
Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre next week.
Oh yeah. Yes, yes. Sammy did approach him and had a face to face with him, and they are going to wrestle next week, which should be a good match. Should be a fun match.
Mhm.
I'm excited for that.
Like
I'm happy to.
instantly reminded me of the like 2 months where Drew kept on trying to wrestle Sammy and Sammy kept running away before the match ever started.
Right when he was an honorary Oos. Um, yeah, I'm a huge Sami Zayn fan, and I'm happy to see them continue to find ways to keep him against main event stars and ultimately in the main event picture. So I'm happy with that. Um, let's see. Then we had Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Tegan Knox and Natty for in a women's tag team title defense. And Piper Niven and Chelsea Green retained their titles. Um, What'd you think of this? Anything to say?
I'm not down for this tag team. I'm like, I think
Which
that
one?
they're a
Chelsea
tag
Green
team.
and Piper Niven?
No, no, no. They're good. They're good.
Oh, you're talking about
Uh,
Natty and Tegan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Natigan or whatever you want to call them.
Tegan. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I don't,
The-
I like Tegan Knox. Natty is who she is, right? I mean, she's been around for a long time. You know what you get with her. She's a good hand, but she's not, she's never going to be, in my opinion, the top woman in the division. So I don't, it feels like her and Tegan Knox together as a tag team are just kind of treading water, which for Natty
the
is kind
best
of okay.
moment that they had was Natalia spanking Tegan when Tegan wasn't expecting it, which I think classifies as sexual harassment, but like that's
I
the
don't,
best moment that the two of them had.
I don't really have a problem with Natty treading water just because I think she's past the prime of her career, and I think they get more out of her backstage and training than they do in ring at the moment. So I'm fine with that. But Tegan is still young and has a lot of upside, so I'm kind of disappointed to see her. And she just came back not too long ago, and she hasn't had what I would call a very stellar comeback yet. So um,
If Tegan is going to be women's tag team champion, I'd like to see her do it with Shotzi
yes, I agree. I agree.
because those two deserve a title shot. They earned a title shot like 2 years ago and never got it.
That's true. That is correct. Yeah, I'd much rather see that. Um, so let's see that. So Green and Niven won, and then we had Randy Orton versus Dominic Mysterio, which came out of earlier when Randy Orton was giving his promo, and it ultimately ended up in them scheduling this match. Randy defeated Dominic pretty easily. Um, JD got involved and took a middle rope DDT, which looked pretty nasty. Um, and ultimately, Randy Orton, finished it with a RKO and got the win on Dominic as he should. Yeah. What'd you think about your boy being back?
Love him being back. Was kind of hoping we'd get to see some punt kicks, but is what it is. Hey,
uh,
punt kick is a lot easier on the back than an RKO.
so here's another question, and this is kind of a similar question that I asked earlier. He's kind of in that Drew McIntyre realm a little bit, right? Because he's really a heel for the most part, but the crowd's happy to have him back, and he's hugging everybody. And I mean, is he a
He left
babyface
the
now that he's back?
babyface. He
He
left
left
a
the baby.
babyface.
He left the babyface. So yeah, he guess he's back as a babyface. I do think his best work is as a heel. Um, there's very
Well, I
few
mean,
guys that can do that. That are as good a heel as he is. He's a fucking real
he's only been a babyface
slimy
twice in his
heel.
career.
Yeah,
The first time was like 2005, and the second time was 2021.
before he went out, before he got injured. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. Let's see. So that led. So Randy Orton won, and then we got a CM Punk sighting. Came to the ring and cuts a promo in the ring. Um, he says he's changed. He
Yeah,
said he was home.
he did.
Um,
He
uh,
also said, "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money."
that's true. He did say that. He said that people were asking him about AJ, and
Because let's be real, we'd all really rather have AJ back over him, but it is what it is.
yeah, I mean, I thought this was an okay Punk promo. I mean, it's not definitely not one of his better promos. There was nothing shocking here. There was nothing, whatever. This isn't a pipe bomb, which I think is overhyped anyhow. But this isn't one of those kind of promos. It was just kind of, hey, I'm back, I'm here, this is what's going on, and I thought it came off okay.
Well, of course it's not a pipe bomb. It was This promo wasn't written by Triple H.
Well, there is that. Well,
No,
yeah, I don't.
PG Punk back in WWE.
PG Punk back in WWE. So I thought this was a solid episode of Raw. Oh, we failed to mention that the first hour was no commercial to give it, I guess, kind of a, I don't know, some sort of a pay per view type feel. I'm not even sure what they were trying to do or why it was no commercial, but it was no commercial. And yeah,
We
I thought
needed
it was
we needed more R Truth and Jelly
more
Roll.
our truth, more our truth, not enough our truth. And there were a couple things that really stood out to me during the Survivor Series that I failed to mention earlier. It's one thing when the match ends or they go to a commercial during a pay per view, and it's actually a commercial. Like it's it's a WWE Slim Jim commercial, but it's an actual commercial. It's a whole different thing when they take a segment, a vignette, and turn it into a commercial. That I have a real problem with, and they did that with Alpha Academy backstage during the Survivor Series, and I was like, "What the fuck are we doing? Like this is dumb." Like it was
Chips,
really bad.
crisps.
Yes, yes, thank you. It's
These
like,
aren't
what the
chips or crisps. These are
uh,
ruffles.
stupid. Like, this is really, really dumb. Like, wow. I
When
get
are we gonna
product
bring R
placement.
Truth back though?
I get product placement. I get all that stuff. But it's like, wow, this is really what we're doing now with our backstage segments and promos. It's like, okay, all right.
Hey, if that's how you want to bring R Truth back, whatever. I'm just happy to have R Truth back.
Well, there is that. All right. So that was the end of Monday Night Raw, which was a solid show, I thought, after Survivor Series. And then that brings us to last night's NXT.
Tozawa,
Where
do the ruffle shuffle. Do the jelly roll.
do the Jelly Roll. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention Jelly Roll was at Monday Night Raw. He made an
You listen to him?
appearance. I don't. I'm not familiar with him. I am not. Are you?
Yeah. Yeah. One of my cousins is a big fan. Um,
Okay.
I dig him. I dig him.
I'll tell you how unfamiliar I am with him. I don't even know what kind of music he actually does. I think it's country. Is that right?
You are correct.
That's what I thought. I thought that that's what I had heard, that he does country music. So yes, he was at Monday Night Raw, which he has a little involvement, as they like to do when they have celebrities appear, or at ringside, or coming to see the show. They like to try to get them involved a little bit. But NXT last night. So NXT kicked off with the D'Angelo family retaining against Los Humbertos Garza. What'd you think of this? Did you like
Um,
this match?
uh, I like the Latin Wolves. They're good.
Yeah, I mean, I,
I
I like
prefer
them.
the family and backstage segments over in ring stuff, though.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure. I don't. When Tony D first came out, I thought, okay, he's got a bright future. I think he looked good, and now he's kind of, in my opinion, gotten a little stale. I'm not sure the whole family thing's gotten a little stale. I don't know. They've got to do something with him or them to warm them back up. This is not it. Even with the tag team titles, I don't think it's really doing a whole lot for them. I
It
think they either
does not feel like main roster material.
he doesn't or
Like
they don't.
it's all of it.
Yeah,
It's fine for NXT, but I don't
yeah.
see him or the family being successful on the main roster.
My guess is if and when they move him to the main roster, they'll repackage him as something else.
Hmm.
I don't know what that'll be, but hopefully it'll be decent. I mean, I prefer they didn't, just because I hate it when you get to know somebody and then they do that. But I think you're right. I mean, I think it does work for NXT. I don't know that it works on the main roster. Uh, let's see. Then we had backstage. We had Nathan Frazier and the Mad Dragon have a little face to face, whatever, which leads to a match scheduled for a match for next week, which should be fun. Nathan Frazier is a really good wrestler. Ilya's obviously
Mhm.
Ilya, um, so I don't have any problem with that at all. Um, that brought us to Lexis King, who talks a lot of shit to Jensen in front of Henley and Briggs and Jensen about how Jensen didn't get picked for the Iron Survivor Challenge. And Briggs basically says, "Well, he's
To
going to
be
show you
fair,
what he's."
he's no Josh Briggs.
Right, he is not. He definitely is not. He definitely is not. So, but Briggs says, "Well, we'll show you," and basically says that Jensen's going to beat Lexis King later tonight in the match, and takes the match
I think
for
he
him.
does have the better name though. I
Brooks
Brooks
Jensen is better
Jensen,
than Josh Briggs.
the name is better, but the
Uh,
wrestler is not.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I've been saying this for a really long time. Josh Briggs is a fucking amazing wrestler, and I'm really disappointed that he's been mired with this whole ongoing storyline with Brooks and Fallon, and
Oh,
just
most
it's
weeks it's my least favorite segment of the show. Their backstage stuff.
which is
Like,
really unfortunate because he's such a good wrestler. If they would just
yeah,
separate him and let him just be a singles wrestler and just have matches with Braun Breaker and Corbin,
like
Baron Corbin and all the other guys. Oh yeah, those guys. I mean, it would be so much better.
Los Lotharios doing the whole Spanish soap opera segments. Like, I
Right.
dig that. But Brooks and Briggs doing the whole like Degrassi,
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights sort of like,
Right.
no, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not here for that
If I wanted
either.
to watch that, I'd watch that.
I agree. Let's see. Then we had the women's Iron Survivor qualifier match. Kalani Jordan beating Kiana James. Lots of K's and J's in that matches in that match. And ultimately, Roxanne Perez came out and I guess distracted Kiana James um, and Kalani Jordan got the win. So
Mhm.
she advances in the women's Iron Survivor qualifier. Anything to say about this?
No.
All right. Then we had Alpha Academy and your favorite faction, Metaphor. We're, we're gonna get Alpha Academy challenges Metaphor to a match next week. Hopefully, Alpha Academy kicks the shit out of Metaphor. It should be fun.
I'm
Um,
looking forward to the Horsey Awards.
yes. uh, then we had some footage from NXT Anonymous, which is a weight room or locker room, I guess in dark. Um, it's all dark, and you see Trick getting ready, I guess, to go for his match or do something. He's in the room getting hyped up. He goes through the door, and then you see Lexis King creep out of the dark and follow him through the door. And I guess the implication is that he is the one that attacked Trick. You don't actually see this, but that's what I think they're trying to imply here. And so Mello feels vindicated. Says, I told you I didn't do it. And what do you think of this? What do you think of Lexus King being the one to attack Trick?
I still like the idea of it being Joe Gacy better
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
because
do too. I mean, I guess you've got to do something with Lexus King since you've kind of hyped him up and he needs a story, but I'm not
I
sure that this
suppose
is
promos from the roof is fine too. Whatever.
right. So then we had the Chase U investigation comes to a head. Andre admits it's all true, accepts, fault, says he made mistakes, and I guess he's going to accept whatever punishment there is at some point. I'm not totally sure. Um, this was kind of odd. I mean, it is what it is. I guess we'll see what ends up happening next. Uh,
Yeah, I have no idea.
then we had the men's Iron Survivors match. Braun defeating Eddie Thorpe. Um, yeah, I mean Braun, Braun
Was
beat
this
him.
match of the night?
Was this match of the night? Um, yeah, I suppose it could have been. I don't know. I liked Ilya and Nathan Frazier, but this was good. I mean, I thought this. I mean, even though Eddie had some offense in the beginning, I still felt like it ultimately ended up being kind of a Braun Breaker showcase when it's all said and done, which I guess is fine. I don't know. I mean, Eddie Thorpe's a mid tier guy, anyhow. Probably isn't going to go anywhere outside of NXT, and Braun Breaker's obviously destined for the main roster, so I get it. But I don't know. I think Ilya versus Nathan Frazier for me was match of the night. Um, let's see, we had Trick and Mello backstage. They decided they got their eyes set on Lexus King. Um, then we had Ilya versus Nathan Frazier. Ilya gets the win. Um, again, I like these guys. Both guys can wrestle. I for me this was my favorite match of the show. But I guess it's debatable whether this or Braun versus Eddie was match of the night. I can see an argument for both. What did you think of this one?
It was solid. I'm not the biggest Nathan Frazier fan, but
Yeah.
he's good. He's good.
What did you think? So Ilya gets the win, and then Baron shows up on the Titantron and basically talks some shit, and they're going to have a match for the title.
Love it.
And I'm here for that. I think that'll be fun. I'm here for Baron Corbin and Ilya.
Um, did we agree to the additional horsey I wanted to add for when we do the horse season?
I forget which one it was, but I think so.
Okay, we're doing it. All right.
I think so. Let's see. Then we had a Joe Gacy promo where he was under the ring. This
Oh,
was
it
kind of a
was
bizarre promo. What do you think of
well.
this Joe Gacy promo?
What do you want him to do? You told him he couldn't be on top of the roof.
So yes, he went under the ring. We we here at All for Not the Nightmares are big fans of Joe Gacy. So I'm interested to see what they do now that the schism is clearly broken up and he's on his own. I thought
To
this
be
was a good
to be fair, we're not fans of what he's done in NXT. We're fans of what he did in the Indies before coming to NXT,
correct,
and we're
and we hope
hopeful
that
that
they'll book him better in NXT now that he's away from the schism. We'll see. I thought this was a fun promo. I mean, he didn't really say a whole lot, but I thought it was kind of fun.
hmm
Uh, we then had a match I didn't really care about. For me, this was the low part of the show. Ariana Grace defeated Carmen Petrovic, which I was a little. I mean, there was a low point. It was a low point not just because I don't really care or about either of these women. Neither of them really moves the meter for me. But if I had to pick
this
one that did,
happened.
I like Petrovic better than Grace, and Ariana
This
Grace got the
happened
win here.
yesterday, and I literally forgot that this match happened.
Yeah, so I like I like Petrovic better, a little bit better than Grace, and Grace won, so that even made it worse for me. But Joe Gacy appeared. He stole the ring bell during the match and then ran off. So I guess he's just weird Joe Gacy. I'm not totally sure what the gimmick is. I don't know what exactly he's supposed to be doing, but okay. Uh, then Lexus King beat Brooks Jensen um, in what was what you expected to be. Um, I knew Lexus King was getting the win here. Brian Pillman Jr. is the one they want to push here, and that's why he's wrestling Brooks Jensen first. I'm assuming he'll get Josh Briggs next, That would be my guess. I hope that that's a little bit better match, more competitive. It should be. They should let Josh Briggs actually wrestle a little. Of course, you don't want to let him do too much because he's probably better than Brian Pillman Jr. or Lexus King, so you don't want him to probably go over because I think Lexus King is the one you're pushing here. Um, I don't know. What do you think?
I'm hopeful for seeing some good stuff,
And then
or
that
the
led us
least.
to the main event, the Fatal Four Way, which had a weird stipulation. Uh, if Wesley loses, he can never challenge Dominic Mysterio for the North American Championship again. But if the other three win, they don't get a match either. They don't get it. It's not like the winner's the number one contender. This was strictly about Wes Lee not getting another shot at the title. So, which was kind of weird to me. You would think that this would just be
Yes,
a number one contender fatal four way, but it is what it is. Um,
this was weird.
and given this stipulation, as soon as the stipulation came out, I knew that Wesley was winning this match. I mean, I just, I feel like 99.9% of the time when you do some sort of an ultimatum, so and so's leaving, or you never get to try, usually they end up winning. I mean, you don't usually end up
And
putting those
it felt
stipulations on,
so wasteful considering like who they brought in to do this match too.
right? Yeah.
Like there
Yeah. I
should
mean,
have
to
been
have,
so much more hype for this for it to actually mean something, and it
yeah,
just no, none of it did.
I agree. I agree. Which is unfortunate because Bronson Reed has proved that he's a solid wrestler and he can be a good big guy hand. Obviously, we know what Johnny Gargano is. He's one of the better wrestlers. In WWE in general, and Cameron Grimes is a really solid wrestler. So yeah, all these guys. These guys really just took a back seat to the Wesley Dominic Mysterio storyline. So it is what it is.
Mhm.
I thought the match itself, the actual in ring work was good though. I didn't have any complaints about the match itself. I knew Wesley was going to win, and it is what it is. I mean, these guys
Yeah,
probably deserve a little bit better, but
what can you do?
what can you do? Anything else you want to say? What do you think about this show, this episode of NXT overall?
Solid thumbs in the middle.
Solid thumbs in the middle. I would agree with that. I think yeah, middle of the pack. Nothing great, nothing too terrible beyond Grace and Petrovich, which didn't do much, and then Um, the stuff with anytime we got to see Metaphor, we're obviously disappointed. But hopefully we'll see Alpha Academy beat them up next week. So, that said, we'll go ahead and get up out of here. Until next week, make sure if you are not subscribed, if you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit the bell to be notified. We do drop content every day of the week. As long as you have that notification bell set up, you'll get notified. We do always put out a notification so you don't have to miss anything. Uh, Here's our basic schedule. I'll give it a quick rundown. On Mondays at 10 a.m. Eastern, you see Seeing Stars, which is J News and Dolores talking about GCW and NJPW um, and all the other independents that they want to discuss, whatever's floating their boat at the time. On Tuesday nights, we have the cookout. Last night, we had Santana Jackson as a special guest. It was a lot of fun. Please check that out. That's on the YouTube channel. You can also find the audio of that on Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find it. So check that out. You're here with us on Wednesday night. It's not live, this is recorded, but you'll get it on Wednesday night. I am going to put it out here in just a little bit. Normally, this is live at 10:15 Eastern. All for Naught, where myself and Sammy Joe are talking about Monday Night Raw and NXT from last night. Tomorrow night, Thursday, you get Aftermath of Dynamite live. Usually myself and Anika talking about the week that was AEW, starting with Rampage from the Friday before, Collision from Saturday, and Dynamite from the night before. Then on Friday nights, we have Friday Night Fights, where you get Anika and Sammy Joe watching SmackDown and Rampage. CM usually comes along and joins them for Rampage. We'll also watch whatever other pay per views are on Friday nights. Then Saturday in the morning, you get Under the Radar, which is myself and CM reviewing Impact Ring of Honor, MLW, and BTE. That's at 11 a.m. Pacific or Eastern Standard Time in the morning. Then Saturday nights we're back for our Saturday Night is All Right Collision watch along. I don't you'll get a whole bunch of different people. Usually it should be Dolores Anika and CM for Black Girl Magic, but card is subject to change as always. Um, and then on Sundays, you get myself and Sammy Joe battling it out on Enter the Square Circle for the King of the Squared Circle title, of which I currently hold, although in the scheme of things, Sammy actually has 3 championships and I have one. So make sure and check that out. We have just started our tag team division, so make sure and check that out. It's a lot of fun.
Um, yeah, the first episode of that was on Sunday. And so
Yes,
episode 2 will be this Sunday, and episode
correct.
3 the following Sunday.
Correct.
I believe it's just 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's either 3 or 4. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 3 episodes. So, and that will then when they may enter the Square Circle Tag Team Champion. And yeah, so make sure you tune in for that. So until next time, uh, peace.